Welcome to Bali Talk. We're going to dive into the internet looking for real comments, tips, real questions from all around the internet. We're going to share with you what actually works, what doesn't, and everything you need to know about Bali. So let's get right into it. So the first interesting question that we found this week: which Bali beach has your heart forever? So let's have a look what people are commenting. Virgin Beach at Candidasa, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, and also Padang Beach. Another vote for Virgin Beach. Uluwatu, Kuta. Another vote for Kuta. Legian. Pantai, if I'm pronouncing that right, is the Indonesian word for beach. Pantai German. Kuta again. Legian again. Malastay Beach. Legian, Kuta, Legian. Gemaluk Bay at Ahmed, or Virgin Beach again. Legian, Seminyak. Legian, Nusa Dua, Sanua, Kuta, Legian, Jimbaran, Nusa Penida, Malastay, Uluwatu. Again, we get the comments from people you have to question why they're involved in these sorts of groups. Someone has said none of them, they're all sewage polluted. Don't know about that. Yeah, so a lot of the comments are the main tourist beaches, so Seminyak, Legian, Kuta. Haven't been to Sanua, Nusa Dua. Well, there was the time we were there was a lot of rubbish on the beach and in the water. So, don't know if I can agree with that. Kuta, when we've been there, has been nice and clean, but yeah, you have to be, the presence of lifesavers is few and far between, and you can see some of those rips look pretty dangerous. So I haven't actually done any swimming at any of those beaches, but yeah, so that's it for that one. The next one we came across was a report about the proposed North Bali airport, claiming that it's going to change the face of Bali travel forever. A lot of the comments are that this is just a stupid plan, basically. It's going to ruin Bali. I don't know about that. I don't know. We haven't done much travel in the north yet. Ubud is about far north as we have been so far. Next trip we're planning to go a bit further north, but don't know what my opinion is on that one. I believe their plan is that they're trying to emulate, say, Singapore airport and make Bali a bit of a transfer hub. I can't see why, rather than building a complete new airport, why Denpasar airport couldn't be upgraded, renovated a lot further. There appears to be a lot of room there. Maybe I'm wrong, but appeared to me as if it was possible. So let's see what the plan is. So they're saying that apparently elements or parts of this new airport could be operational as early as 2028. Apparently the airport will be able to serve up to 24 million international passengers per year. That's a lot. With a capacity to accommodate a further 6 million domestic travellers. So 30 million people apparently going through this airport. So yeah, they're aiming for it to be for North Bali to be a destination in its own right and a central hub for international travel. So yeah, apparently the Indonesian president is right behind this. Yeah, I don't know. At the moment, there seems to be a lot of money being thrown at tourism-related infrastructure attack. When really, if they, to me, if they just wanted to improve Bali, there's probably three things for me they should be looking at: waste management, water management, and infrastructure. I mean, it's, footpaths, things like that can be quite treacherous to navigate, particularly when maybe there's been a bit of rain around. So to me, they're the three things that they need to look at. I mean, what do you think? Just pop a comment below. Let us know what you think of the potential of the new airport, and maybe what you think needs improving in Bali. So next one. The question is it common to send deposits when you book in for a tattoo? The basic answer is yes. We had to do it, but what I was able to negotiate with them is, rather than trying to send money across to Indonesia, is to just go and visit the studio on the first day that we arrived, pay a deposit, and we came back on our last day of our trip. And yeah, I think you'll find that most places should be fine with that. And yeah, the first comment basically confirms that this person was asked for a deposit, told the studio they weren't comfortable doing it online, and asked if they could pay a deposit when they first got there, and apparently they were happy to do that. Next comment's pretty much exactly the same: paid deposit when they went in for the first consultation. Yes, paid a deposit when went in and booked in. Next comment, apparently that's common practice in Australia as well, to pay a deposit. Common replies to that one is yes, you will need to, but you can negotiate just to pay that on the first day that you arrive. Next one, what's the one single thing you love about Bali the most, is the question. First one off the rank is the people, the food, the culture, and don't forget the shopping and the bintang. Definitely the people. Again, someone's commented. Oh, two people have commented with the laughing out loud emojis. Bike. Yes. Getting nude and drunk in my own private villa with a pool. And someone has seconded that. Next one, the food, the people, but most of all, the drop and flop relax bintang time. Again, another one. Just why even get involved? First flight off the island. And then someone's commented, well, that's one less dickhead to worry about. and then that just proceeds to get into a argument, bit of abuse being thrown back and forth. Next comment is the people. Next comment, sunsets, everything, the people, no cooking, people. Yeah, the overwhelming response to that one is the people. Overwhelmingly, the comment is the people. The next one, Bali Belly. Is it inevitable or avoidable? First comment is that the person's never had a problem. His wife's Bali Belly consists of gaining 5 kilos every trip from all the great food. Next one, as would travel to any country, bugs will be bugs. But they've never had issues in Bali, so time to drop the term Bali Belly, as it makes it sound like a special thing you have to watch out for. Which, that comment's true. Bali Belly is just like a colloquial name, a nickname, a common name. It's basically traveller's diarrhea, and that there is a few sort of catchphrases for all around the world. You know, turkey trots, Montezuma's revenge, all that. It's all the same thing. It's just traveller's diarrhea. Next person, we did everything we could to avoid it, but 3 out of 6 of us still fell. Next person says it is avoidable, but on their last trip they did catch it and was told by the doctor that, you know, you could even catch it by shaking hands with someone. So we mentioned in the last episode, you know, hand sanitizer is your best friend, and just, you know, to be consistent with it. So anytime, you know, such as that, shaking hands with people, touching money, touching menus, anytime you've been to the toilet, just always carry hand sanitizer with you, and that will go a long way to helping you avoid it. So next one, been to Bali 4 times, never had it. They just come back from Vietnam and got ill while they were there. So next person, kind of the biggest thing is not to use the water when brushing teeth. So yeah, wherever you're staying, hotels, resorts, things like that, they'll generally supply you with bottled water to use for that purpose. And this person adds here that you know, hand sanitize when getting in and out of taxis. Luck of the draw. This person says it's avoidable. It says don't drink any water that isn't from a container that you opened yourself, and use bottled water to brush your teeth. Another person mentions charcoal tablets. Yeah, so here's the person saying avoidable. They've just come back, family of 4, no issues. Some of their advice is don't go under the water at day clubs. I think the issue with pools is that, you know, people that have maybe had traveller's diarrhea, you know, and it will even say, you know, even the pools here will tell you the same thing, that, you know, you shouldn't go into a pool, I think it's at least 48 hours after you've been ill. So imagine what's happening is, you know, people might get a bit ill, they're calling one of these doctors who gives them medication to feel better in a few hours, but they still probably haven't really got, the bugs are probably still in their system, and then they're jumping into pools and things like that, and possibly getting spread around that way. And the same thing happens here, so that's not just a Bali thing. They also mention avoiding street cart food, taking pre and probiotics 30 days before travelling, and if for some reason you do get Bali Belly, pack your charcoal tablets and hydrolyte tablets. So this person says it's avoidable, and their advice is to don't lick the toilet seats, don't lick doorknobs, and again, shaking hands comes up, using hand sanitizer, avoids food from those scooter stands, and avoid raw vegetables. Yeah, so we'll leave it at that for that one. There's the most important thing to avoiding, you know, whatever you like to call it, traveller's diarrhea, is sanitizer and avoiding the water. They're probably 2 of the most important things you can do. Next one, talking about money changing. So the person is saying they went to a BMC, who are probably one of the most trusted money changers in Indonesia. They're saying that they now require some sort of ID and an address of where you were staying. Apparently this is a part of an attempt to clean up the money changing business, which, you know, it's a common thing that comes up in these groups, is people getting ripped off at money changers. And basically you stick to the trusted ones like BMC. If you walking down a street and you see a sign, you know, the rate's better than everywhere else, but the little exchange booths, like, you know, down an alleyway or at the back of a shop, you know, just avoid those ones. And that's probably the ones they're trying to clean up, because apparently it's quite common for the sleight of hand scam or theft to happen in those types of places. Now, so far, the times we've been there, last time was February, we've never been asked for ID at Moneychangers, so apparently it's something they should have been doing all along, but it's not strictly enforced. Yeah, and it's exactly what someone says here. It's nothing new, photo ID and address, but they don't always enforce it. So again, that's a good reason to, if you're not comfortable carrying your ID around with you, at least have, maybe a photo of your passport, your driver's license, whatever it may be, on your phone, so that if it's needed, you've at least got a copy of it to show people. So yeah, I think this next article is talking about the same thing. Yeah, Bali is cracking down on illegal tourist money exchange counters at top attractions. So we'll get to the article, see what it's talking about. So apparently the leaders in Bali have made a commitment to crack down on illegal money changes and money exchange scams. Well, this article is particularly mentioning around Ubud. So apparently it's being investigated by the Bali Civil Police team and Satpol in an effort to clean up the tourism sector. So apparently they've already identified a series of operations that were being conducted by scammers, and also some deliberately set up for criminal activity. So yeah, that's another thing. If they really want to improve tourism in Bali, that's that's a positive step in the right direction. But it's easy to avoid. Just stick to your official money changers like BMC. So next one. What's your number one tip for first timers in Bali? One is to never tell people it's your first time. If you tell people that, it really raises the chance of people trying to take advantage of you. And if the first comment's exactly that. Don't tell the stall holders it's your first time in Bali. Next one is don't scratch the timeshare cards from people on the corners. We mentioned that last episode. It's not necessarily a scam. They're actually trying to get you to have a look or get you into a timeshare accommodation arrangement, generally down in the Nusa Dua area. So, hey, if you've got some money you're happy to invest and you're planning on regularly going to Bali, by all means go and have a look. But if you don't, just, a polite no thank you and just keep walking. I'm pretty sure every card they give out will win a prize, but from what I've heard, you won't get those prizes unless you actually go and listen to the timeshare arrangements, and then you still might not even get them unless you actually, sign on the dotted line. So this next person's tip, similar to what I was talking about before with the infrastructure. Be careful not to slip, fall, or anything else that can ruin your holiday. Apparently this person slipped on some wet glossy tiles by their hotel pool and was in hospital for 2 weeks with a fractured pelvis and pneumonia, and still recovering at home. And they always mention, always have insurance. So absolutely agree with that. Should not travel anywhere overseas without travel insurance. Many years ago, unfortunately, probably 30 years ago, I used to work in a hospital in their finance section, and if you're not covered by Medicare, you basically have to pay the full hospital rate for the hospital itself and all the services that you receive. even back then, I think it was somewhere between $400 to $600 a night for a international visitor to stay in a Australian public hospital, and then you would have the cost of x-rays and tests and things like that on top of it. So it can very, very quickly add up to thousands and thousands of dollars. So always make sure you have travel insurance. This person's tip: get used to hearing bike every 2 seconds. So yeah, you will hear that a lot, bike. And the other thing you'll hear, is something along the lines of, "Hey brother, come in my shop." So you will need to get used to just very politely saying no thank you and just keep walking on. Oh my God. Next tip. This person's apparently encouraged us to go get a rub and tug. And someone else has commented, a happy ending massage relieves stress and anxiety of being in Bali for the first time. Yeah. This person's tip is, if you're wanting to cross the road, put your hand out, as in, the stop motion when you're crossing the road, and the cars will stop. Otherwise, if you're waiting for a gap in traffic, you'll probably be waiting forever. So that's probably very true. Next tip, be kind, polite and respectful to the locals and their customs. Don't drink the water. Don't judge by first impressions. Don't drink the water. Clean your teeth with bottled water. Be consistent with your hygiene. Carry hand sanitizer, bottled water, and only drink ice cold bintangs, and plenty of it. Next person saying, don't over plan your trip. Just go with the flow sort of attitude. Next person, shop around before buying. Be kind and respectful. Have a beer, grab a bike. Don't tell anyone it's your first time. And that's probably enough for that one. But yeah, don't tell anyone it's your first time, although I'm sure some of them are probably able to tell that it might be your first time, but yeah, just don't tell them. Let them see if they can work it out for themselves. Next one, when you're traveling to Bali, what's one local food you have to try and would go back just to eat it again? Well, there's over 200 comments for this one, so we'll just select a few to have a look at. The chicken satays. I'm not sure how to pronounce some of these things. Babi guling, if someone's mentioned. Pork satays, chicken satays, gato, nasi goreng or mee goreng and rendang, mee goreng, bintang, nasi goreng, babi guling. Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce a lot of these things, but grilled corn, all from the streets, and did see a couple of guys doing that. It looked absolutely amazing. Unlike how we would do it, we'd probably, grill or with just plain butter or something like that. I think they use some sort of special garlic butter, and it's really, really nice. Yeah, nasi goreng. So yeah, nasi goreng, mee goreng, the satays, the corn, that's all coming up a lot. So we'll leave it at that for that one. So this question is Bali Zoo or the Safari Zoo, which one's best to visit? So we'll see what people recommend. First one recommends Safari Zoo is the better one. Second one says Bali Zoo is very nice. Bali Zoo, Safari, Bali. Next, this person basically maybe saying do some things at both. Apparently you can do breakfast with the orangutans at Bali Zoo and the night safari and Varuna show with dinner at the Safari Zoo. Yeah, and another vote there for the night tour at the Safari Zoo. We haven't been to either yet, so when we get a chance, maybe we'll do a video. Now, the next one that people are talking about is someone's put a very long post about being a little bit anxious about getting dengue fever and insect repellent. So, yeah, they're basically asking a lot of questions about how to protect yourself. So the first comment that comes in is the person's pointing out that the number of people who actually get dengue fever is very small. So next one, they mentioned that they use the local brand, Sofel, I think it's pronounced. It's very cheap. It's a lot better on the skin than some of the other ones. It's not oily, and it has a fairly pleasant smell to it, but it's got a quite low DEET rating. I think about 11 or 12%, which means you'd have to be applying it a lot more often. Now, apparently the mosquitoes that carry dengue fever are more active around, dawn and dusk. So make sure you're covering yourself particularly at those times of day. The other one that people mention is Bushman's. Just keep in mind that Bushman's have some of their products are quite high DEET ratings. I think one's around 20, one's around 40, and one's around 80. So for children, it's not recommended to use anything more than 20% DEET content. All that means is that it's stronger, and you won't have to reapply it as often. And now this next post, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't even know this. So if you actually look up Australian border force regulations, it is actually illegal to bring counterfeit goods back into Australia with no exceptions. So that means even, one t-shirt potentially. So the consequences, if you are checked, really it's up to border force discretion. We've not had an issue bringing back anything, but we haven't been bringing back, say, 20 copies of the same pair of shoes or 20 of the same t-shirts or whatever it might be. But there is the potential that you can actually have all those goods confiscated. You can potentially be fined, and you can even be prosecuted. So let's see what people talk about. So there's one comment here that a person indeed had 3 bags confiscated at Melbourne Airport by customs. Although she comments that her friends were actually wearing their counterfeit bags and no one even checked. Someone's commented, the biggest put off is seeing a female with a Gucci or LV bag, but looks like she just walked out of the hood, hair not done, and outfit matching the price she paid for her fake bag. So someone's questioned, and it's a valid question. They're saying that they actually have authentic designer items that they take with them and then obviously bring back home with them. What happens if you get stopped and questioned and you don't have the evidence of authenticity? It's a pretty valid question. I understand what the next person's saying, but how many of us would actually think to do this? That you actually keep proof of purchase or something on your phone. I don't always keep the receipts for the Nike t-shirts, Nike shoes that I buy legitimately here in Australia. Now, if I happen to take some of those with me and I got stopped, I'm not going to have the proof that I actually purchased them. And in reality, you know, are Border Force sneaker experts? Are they even going to be able to tell that, you know, the higher quality, higher level copies, you know, they're going to be able to tell the difference between the real and not? I don't know. So let us know in the comments if you've, you know, if you've had anything confiscated when you've returned in customs. Yeah, a couple of people commenting that, you know, maybe you should leave your expensive, authentic items back at home and not take them with you. Yeah, and this is happening too. The next post is talking about Facebook has started cracking down on people for posting, you know, copies or fake items. They're actually going a bit too far though. I actually had a legitimate Nike hoodie that I wanted to sell, didn't fit anymore, and I couldn't even sell it on Marketplace. No matter what I tried, it just kept coming back and saying it was a fake item and I couldn't post it. And I thought, you know, what do you do? It was actually a legitimate Nike hoodie that was purchased, you know, at Harbour Town in Adelaide. And that's probably about it for that. So yeah, let us know in the comments if you've had anything confiscated off of you on the way back. Next one. If Bali beaches had confession booths, what's the funniest thing you'd admit to doing here? There's actually not many comments on this one. I thought people might have got stuck into this one. Out of the order about someone putting up a rip curl beach tent right smack bang in the middle of Kuta Beach. I don't know what the issue is with that. Next one, dancing on the bar in my two-piece cosy, done it once and never again. Next comment, the relaxing sunset photos are not relaxing at all. Trying to have a beer and take some nice sunset pics surrounded by 6, 7, 8 or more people selling or begging and standing in the way of your beautiful sunset. But still we go there each afternoon. That comment's very true. We actually had the same trouble trying to find a spot to sit down and watch the sunset without being harassed. Was actually pretty difficult to do. Last one for today. This article is talking about diving with the Manta Rays being a once-in-a-lifetime underwater adventure. So we'll have a quick glance at the article and see what the basic premise is. Apparently there aren't many places on Earth where you can encounter these animals. So the waters surrounding Bali and the nearby islands of Nusa Penida, Nusa Lembongan and Nusa, I'm not sure how to pronounce this one, Senegan. It's the waters around Nusa Penida are a marine protected area and home to some of endangered species, fragile coral reefs. No, so it seems that most of the article is talking about that the areas where the manta rays frequent have been only recently declared a protected area. So apparently the manta rays can have a wingspan of up to 5 meters and look like they're gliding through the water. And apparently there's a resident population. So let's have a look at some of the comments and see if people are actually... no one has actually commented. Well, if you've been and done the diving or snorkeling with the manta rays, please leave a comment. Let us know what it was like and, you know, maybe who we could trust to take us out there. Because, yeah, it's obviously something that I've spotted and obviously I would really love to do it at some point in the future. So please, please let us know what it's like, whether it's worth doing, you know, the good and the bad. We'd rather, you know, the whole premise of this channel is basically to be real. We're not trying, you know, you notice our videos don't have fancy editing or anything like that. We're not doing the bullshit fake Instagram photos. We'd rather be real. People have a, be informed and have a real idea of what they're in for. So, yeah, anything we've covered today that you have had some experience with and can maybe add something to, please leave a comment and share the knowledge with everyone. So that's it for today. Hopefully we've managed to help you with a few things. Please don't be fearful of Bali. Just a lot of sensible precautions and you'll be fine. It's a great place to holiday. It's cheap if you know where to look. Beautiful weather. Beautiful people. You'll love it. Hopefully we might see you there. So thanks for watching. Safe travels and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.